Night of the Living Geek.
Welcome, heroes, to the Giant Sword Podcast. It is your host this week, Connor White, and to my side are my noble and Harriar, Taylor Hoyt.
I'm very excited to be here today.
And Nick Wind.
Taylor's a very punny guy.
Hello, Nick.
What's up?
And in the great land up north joins us Kathleen.
Hello. Happy to be here once again.
Yeah, thanks for coming back.
Yeah, no, anytime.
And so we'll jump right into it. Today we are going to be kind of having a wacky episode. We're calling this the top 5 episode, the ultimate top 5 episode, where we have compiled 5 different topics, which we will rattle off our machine gun style top 5s for each of. We'll be doing it individually. So our 5 categories that we're going to be doing today are top 5 vehicles from a JRPG. Very easy category for me, but I guess, Taylor, you had some trouble with that one.
I did.
I think all of us did.
I was surprised by that, actually. Top 5 battle systems, self-explanatory.
That was easy.
Top 5 JRPG tropes, which I am delighted to hear your guys for.
That one will be fun.
That one's going to be fun, yeah.
And we're going top 5 Final Fantasy summons. It's very near and dear to our hearts. And top 5 JRPG storylines, which is kind of more a serious one, but I look forward to hearing what you guys think of that. And then, naturally, in the spirit of the episode, we'll be giving the top 5 of our 5 top 5s of the episode.
Exactly. I can't wait for that.
To troll you, the listener.
And then are we going to do a little back of the box action at the very end?
And then to finish off the episode with another dose of wackiness, we're gonna be playing the back of the box challenge.
But for the first time ever, Connor will be hosting. I will not be hosting.
Boom. So, yeah, I'm excited to moderate.
So I'm excited to actually be able to participate. This will be fun.
All right, so let's jump into this and see if this is entertaining at all or complete trash. So
a little bit of both, probably.
Dude, that's the way we like to do it. Okay, so for top 5 vehicles, let's go counterclockwise with Kathleen, imaginary Kathleen sitting right there. So you go first.
Me go first.
Top 5,
right, with
your
my
top 5 vehicles.
With my lovely, totally not pulled out of nowhere choices. All right, let's do this.
Boom. Say it with confidence, and it'll sound beautiful.
My in number 5, the ship in Atelier Chalet, which you use to travel around the desert sea.
Yeah.
In number 4, scooters in Persona 4, because, I mean, so many fun things happen because of those scooters, right?
Yeah,
I love that was like a tongue-in-cheek suggestion, and you're like, oh, that's number 4 right there.
Yeah, that's number 4.
Well, it opens up new areas in the game, which aren't even in the original Persona, so totally awesome.
Exactly.
There's a sweet little animated cutscene where they're all just cruising on the highway, and Teddy's running behind them because he can't fit on a motorcycle.
And isn't Kenji on a bike behind them, or is that just in the anime?
Oh, I think he might be, actually, yeah. If I remember right, yeah.
No, it was worth a good laugh, so I figured it's got to make it on the list.
I love it.
In number 3, it's the Soul Galba in Ys 4 Memories of Celceta. It's technically a dragon, but dragons can be vehicles, too.
No.
I mean,
I got a dragon on my list, my friend, so you are golden.
All right, sounds good. My number 2 spot is the Arcee in Trails in the Sky. It's a very important airship that you use to get around near the end of the game.
Nick, can you speak to that?
No, I haven't played Trails of
No, he hasn't played Trails in the Sky, despite me badgering him constantly. And my number 1 pick, boats in Ys, because for some reason Adol keeps getting on them and keeps getting shipwrecked.
Hey,
and
keeps
losing his
progressing
memory.
the story, right?
Exactly.
He just doesn't know how to sail. He should probably get a captain to navigate for him.
I think the only time he's survived a ship without getting on a ship without crashing at all is Ys 3 Oath and Felghana. He gets on it twice and no shipwreck.
Just that's it. Every other time ends in failure.
Yeah, exactly.
That's worthy of a number 1 spot, to be sure.
Oh, yes.
All right, so Nick, you want to go next? Okay, so never mind, that's me. So I'm very proud of my top 5 vehicle lists. So you guys were all tripping, but I was on point. So Number 5, I got to go Gold Chocobo from FF7, just because it takes so much work to get a Gold Chocobo, and once you do get one, you can officially access any place on the entire map. And that means you've officially got Knights of the Round, and you are a certified badass son of a gun. So, Gold Chocobo, number 5. Number 4 is the Dragon Ship Destiny from Lunar 2, which it's not that useful because like it's giant and can't go through narrow corridors, and it doesn't fly or anything, but it's just extremely cool. Piloted by the White Knight Leo. And coming in at number 3 is my dragon. It's Tangri, the purple dragon, who's your flying mount in Ni no Kuni. Taylor?
Oh yeah, it's super good. I love that guy. It's there is no airship in that game. Actually, I take that back. There is,
but there is
in the very, very end.
There is a big winged lizard.
He doesn't just fly around. I believe he doesn't he shoot fire or something like that? There's like a way you can shoot fire or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's just say yeah, because it sounds cooler. Number 2, I gotta go Yggdrasil from Xenogears, because not only does it take you through sand and then sea and eventually flying through the air as well, you can do all of the above. There's also a ton of story sequences where the Yggdrasil comes up huge and pulls some totally awesome stunt to save the party. And number 1, I'm going Ragnarok from Final Fantasy VIII, because simply it is a giant red lion-themed spiky spaceship, and you can go anywhere on the map with it. And once you get it, it just basically unlocks an entire new world with a zillion new areas, and it's just the best. And the music when you're flying around in it is so epic. So Ragnarok from FF8, easy.
Nice.
Number 1.
Solid. I like it.
Don't even have to think about it.
Taylor.
So to you, Taylor.
So that's me. Okay.
Mr. Texty Texter Boy.
No, so you were talking about being possibly inspired by other lists. I had to look up the name of this vehicle so I could add it to my list. Is what I was doing.
Okay, then you're off the hook.
To be clear. So at number 5, I have the submarine from Final Fantasy VII. I say that because it's multifaceted, right? Like you find the key to the ancients. You can fight Emerald Weapon. That's the only way you can
do submarine battles too.
That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. You can rack up a ton of GP playing the submarine battles because it's so easy. Mm-hmm. And the gold saucer later in the game. So that'd be number 5. I think this counts as a vehicle, but I'm going to say the rollerblades in Pokemon X and Y, because you can. They're like in Batman and Robin or whatever, where they just click their heels and then they just automatically have rollerblades on their shoes or whatever. So like if you're just tired of walking around, like boom, I'm going to click and get on my rollerblades, and
they're quick too.
Yeah, they get you around quick, and I think it's a little bit more interesting than just bikes, because bikes were in. I think it goes all the way back to Red and Blue.
And plus, bikes you had to select too until they got the save system where you could bind a key item to B or whatever button it was. But yeah, the rollerblades are definitely the best iteration of that.
Definitely a big fan of the rollerblades. So the one last minute addition I added is the Queen Fury from Legend of Dragoon, which is the ship you get from Fletz. And I say
Your
that
favorite town.
My favorite town, one of my favorite towns. And I say that because there's just a lot of cool character moments that happen on that ship. Like you don't select it and you're able to travel all around the world with it, but it plays some pretty interesting parts in the story. There's cool moments where you're just on the deck of the ship and you're talking to your party members and stuff like that.
Cool name too.
Yeah, and you eventually crash into the ghost ship. So that's another cool part in the game. Number 2, Balam Garden. For anybody that's played Final Fantasy VIII, it eventually gets up and you're able to move with it.
Yeah, it's actually like a giant doomsday vehicle for when for when the shit hits the fan.
Right.
You're like, oh, this city is a giant moving structure? What?
Yeah. No, it's I just that is one of my favorite spaces in the whole game, and the fact that it's also a vehicle is just extra cool. So
and the fight with Balam Garden and Galbadia Garden is so awesome.
Oh yeah,
totally epic sequence.
The part when you're grabbing on the guy's jetpack and you're doing little QTEs in the air, that part's super fun.
Yeah.
Last one I think is a little predictable, but it plays a big impact in the game, and it's just pretty fun. The High Wind from Final Fantasy VII.
I always knew you were a big High Wind guy, so.
Definitely a big Highwind fan. You can store your chocobos on there. I like the music; it's very like fun and happy and jolly, and it just able to get you around the world.
And plus,
pretty fast.
If you held that one combination of buttons, you could like fly sideways.
Yeah, that's right. I remember we figured that out. You're like literally like sideways going forward. It doesn't make any sense, but
freaking hilarious.
So yeah, that's that would be my top 5 vehicles. Nickel End over in there at the end. What do you have?
Rattle
here?
them off. Let's
All
go.
right. So number 5 is going to be the Granus Saber from Grandia 2. It's the thing you're looking for pretty much the entire game, and you're always thinking it's like this giant, like this awesome looking sword because it has saber in the name, but it turns out to be this giant flying sword.
Giant.
It's
flying
a
sword.
giant flying sword.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is hilarious, and I thought it was really cool.
You
really
end
funny.
up using it as a vehicle.
You kinda. It's like in Grandia, there's no world map or anything like that. So it is a vehicle that you fly, but
That counts.
Yeah.
That checks out.
So that's funny. Number 4, the tricycle from Tales of Destiny.
Dude, that should be number 1. How did I forget about that?
So explain to me where you find this in the game.
Okay, I don't remember how you like talk to this lady who tells you to do
It's
something.
the most obscure side quest of all time. It's one of those things where if you didn't have a specialized guide for it, you would never, ever, ever stumble upon
So
it.
you talk to this lady, and then she tells you to talk to this random person, and this random person's in like a random town, and then you go back. You get this like ticket, and you go back to her, and then she gives you this tricycle, and you're like, "What the hell's a tricycle?" And you go out, and what it is you go to the world map, and you equip it, and Stan is now on a tricycle, and he goes at like a snail's pace, but there's no random battles.
Oh, that's
at
funny.
all.
But it's just so ridiculous to see your hero just like in a big wheel pedaling around the world saving civilization.
Oh, wow.
It's
That's
so
pretty funny. I like it.
Number 3, the White Knight from White Knight Chronicles.
That's funny.
Even though the game is crap, the White Knight's cool concept. I mean, it's a giant freaking mech. I mean, giant knight.
Does Nick even need to say more?
Cool
Yeah.
idea, boring game.
Boring game. Yep. Number 2 is the Van Alicia. I think that's how you said, or the Van Alita. I don't know. It's a weird name. From Tales of Destiny 2, or Tales of Eternia. It's the ship that you get. It's first a like pirate ship, and then you could upgrade it to. Do you fly? No, it's always a pirate ship. And then you could get like add-ons for going underwater, and you could find like secret caves underwater to find secrets.
That's neat.
But you have to find the upgrades via side quest. And then there's another one where it becomes like flying ships that you could fly around, and that's another side quest. So you could so you could upgrade this ship, and you could also get like a store. You could buy a store to be into the ship, or buy like an inn so you could heal on your ship. It's really cool because you just you could just customize this ship to do stuff. So I thought that was a cool addition to Tales of Destiny 2.
And at number 1,
Number 1, the Draconis from Tales of Destiny.
dude, I had a feeling that was, I mean, it is a giant flying dragon.
It's a giant flying dragon,
Is
but
it like alive or something?
yeah, it's like sentient. I think sentient. It's like
Yeah.
like the Swordians.
But the way it's introduced to how you start the game,
You start the
on
game on it,
and
and
you end up getting it
Later.
like, as a stowaway, and end up getting it later. It's so good.
yeah, like, it gets taken over by monsters and then crashes, and then you find it and gets repaired, and you can use it now. It's cool.
Nice. Comes
And
full circle.
Yeah, in the remake, there's actually 2 dragons that you get.
Oh,
One's
wow.
the Draconis, and one's the one that you it's I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a mini dragon that flies around the world. But the Draconis is meant to go into the Aethersphere, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, non-Tales of Destiny players will be like, whatever that means, but that does it for top 5 vehicles. So let's scurry on along here. So for top 5 battle systems, this should be a hot one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have varied,
So
really
if you want us
varied.
to kick it off, we'll go counterclockwise from there.
Yeah, do we want to just go back, start with Nick, and go back around the way we
Yeah,
came?
sure.
Yeah.
That's good.
all right.
Haha.
Back in the spotlight, son.
Well, I wonder what you guys think the first one is.
Oh, well, you're going to start at 5.
I am going to start at 5. Number 5, Shadow Hearts Covenant.
Okay.
Has a great battle system. It's
It
super
has
fun.
skill-based elements, customizable skill-based elements.
Skill-based elements in everything, even your items. So if you mess up, like you have an item, you just like, okay, I just did an item. You throw your controller down. You're not going to use your item because you forgot to do the little mini game that you have to do. I've done that multiple times.
Yeah. Well, it makes it way more engaging.
Yeah. So you're always like constantly engaged with the battle. It's really good. I love that battle system. Number 4, Final Fantasy Tactics. Gotta love me some strategy RPG.
I actually just think that doesn't require explanation.
Yes, I know. One of the best strategy RPG systems ever made. Let's just say that.
Let's just say you might hear that name again at some point.
Number 3, Grandia.
Also gone over that on the last episode.
Yes. Grandia has a really great battle system. It's usually the same for every game, so that's what's awesome about it because it's that good.
Yeah,
it doesn't have
it stays fresh through the different iterations. Oh, it's the best.
Number 4, Trails of Cold Steel.
What, you mean number 2?
Number 2, yeah, number 2. Keep saying that. I
You
keep doing that.
Yeah, Link clapping in the background there.
Trails of Cold Steel. Great battle system. It has
one of your favorite RPGs of all time, from what I can tell, man.
Yes, it is really good. Great characters,
I'm
great battle
it with
system.
Me today.
All right.
Today.
Yay.
It's going down.
Nice.
Yeah. It starts up like you know how every game does. It has that awesome hook, and then it starts slow because you have to build up the characters. But once you get past that, it's great. I love that. Really good battle system. It has it's like a grid based kind of style battle system.
You already have me.
And it's not, but there's no grid, so it's kind of like it. Like you move your characters around, and then
kind of like Lunar, how you can't see the grid, but it's a grid.
Yeah, like that, but 3D. It has like something called linking, where you can link your characters. So if you like do a critical hit, your character that you're linked with could do like a follow-up hit with them, or if you save it up, you could do like a burst where like all your characters attack at the same time. It's so awesome, and you have links with your characters that you earn on like the story parts of the game, where you increase your social link. The more your social link goes up, the more abilities they have. So
it's kind of like Valkyria Chronicles, right? The PS3 game.
Kinda, yeah. It's oh man, I knew there was one like it that I had on top of my head. But if it, like for like you get hit and the linked character has like a healing, so it heals you. She heals you and stuff like that. But
sounds deep.
Yes, it's really good game, really good battle system. And number 1, Tales of Destiny remake. Enough said.
I have a feeling it will be recurring throughout your lists.
You guys, your listeners need to see that battle system. It is the greatest battle system
It's
ever.
awesome talking to Ben Moore about that the week or the podcast before this one.
Yes.
Well, so Taylor?
All right, so mine is going to be all over the place. But number 5, I have Bravely Default. I just like that idea. It's like so strategic that you can store up extra turns or take extra turns if you're like, man, we're really screwed. I need to take a couple extra turns to heal up. Or it's like, okay, I can afford to like not take a few turns in a row to store them up and do a big attack. So
that's cool.
I like that. Yeah, the strategy behind that.
I'm lucky you like that because that's in Persona 5 now.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh wow. That's awesome.
Taylor's so pumped right now. Holy crap.
Wow, this will merge with
like,
something else.
It's called like Pass the Baton, so you make them take your turn. So
oh, wow, that's cool. Okay, wow. You got me really excited.
Neat.
He has like the most genuine big toothy smile right now.
I kind of ruined the surprise for you. I'm sorry.
No, but whatever. And that makes me hyped for it
Happened
even more.
Organically.
Number 4, I replaced this at the last second because I wasn't sure if this counted, but I also put Final Fantasy Tactics number 4. I don't know if we really have to talk about it, but I just the customization, the strategy. Obviously, I mean that's the name of the genre, but Final Fantasy Tactics super good. This one might come as a surprise, but at number 3, I have Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Really?
And
Damn, I thought I was going to be the only one with that on my list.
And I say that because it's a better iteration of the Persona system. So Persona, the way it typically works, right? It's like if you hit an enemy that's weak to your attack, you're able to do a super attack, or you get to attack twice. What's really cool about Tokyo Mirage Sessions is that you can just keep chaining. Like, if the more characters they get and the more abilities you unlock, you can like weaken an enemy, and then like 5 or 6 more characters could attack in a row.
I think the longest session I've had is like 20.
Dang, that's insane! I didn't know it could loop back around like that.
Well played.
Yeah, no, you get these special attacks later on in the game, and they can in some instances restart the session.
Wow.
So I got 2 of those, and I was like, wow, I didn't know. And I never got it that much ever again, but it was like that one time I was like, damn, I got a 20 session. I feel proud of myself.
That's super cool. And the other thing I like too is that on the top of the screen you always know the order of who's going to attack. Like in turn-based battles, that's something that always kind of annoys me, is like, okay, am I going to attack next? And I guess that's part of the strategy, but I like having all the information. So not only the chaining,
like without even having to look at a menu, it's already there.
Exactly. And the last point I'll say is you're able to switch in characters at any time, except the main character. But like if you have some character out and they're just really weak to what the enemy's doing, you can swap them out, and it doesn't cost you a turn. You can swap them out, and they can attack that turn. So it's just a really flexible, fun system. So yeah, definitely love Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I'm
hoping that carries over to Persona 5.
Yeah, me too. I think it probably will. Number 2, I have Ys 7. And the way
high praise.
Yeah, Ys 7 is pretty solid. It's an action RPG, kind of hack and slashy, like you're running around the map and you're attacking in real time.
I've heard Diablo comps before.
Yeah, definitely compared to Diablo. Like enemies will drop potions and you'll get healed like immediately. The boss battles are just so much fun. They're not, I wouldn't call them epic, but there's so much strategy of like dodging and blocking at the right second and saving up your super move for the right time. And yeah, it's just really fun, flexible. I could just grind on that all day. It's just super fun. It sounded like Kathleen, you wanted to add something.
No. I mean, like, I had a hard time picking between 7 and the one I actually put on my list. And yeah, it was so much fun playing 7. I love that game.
And my number 1, I think this might shock Nick, but my favorite battle system in any JRPG is Tales of Exilia 2. Yeah.
Did not know what to expect, but it was not that.
Yeah, I didn't expect that either.
So I love it. Just God, it's so much fun. Like that is the one major redeeming quality of that game. So the main character has 3 different like forms. He has like his sword gun mode or dagger gun mode. Then he has like his hammer, and then I can't remember what the other thing is. But he can basically switch between the weapons he's equipped with, and just the moves that you can pull off and how you can switch on the fly is super fun. You have these team up attacks. When you weaken the enemy at the right time, you can team up with a party member and do like a double team attack. He has this mode where you can go like Super Saiyan essentially and just destroys people. And much like Tokyo Mirage Sessions, you can swap in characters on the fly. I love any game that sounds flexible
awesome
enough that you can do that with. So
then why do you not like Tales of Zestiria?
It's not like that. They have all this weird merging thing and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's my favorite. Tales of Exilia 2.
Nice.
So, Connor.
That makes me want to like play that game, which is something I've never been able to say before.
Worth it for the combat.
No diss, though. So, for me, number 5 for me is Lunar. And as in number 1 or number 2, because the battle systems are essentially
pretty
identical.
similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just the pinnacle of 8-bit turn-based RPG combat, which is saying a lot considering games like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 6 and 5 are out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say Lunar is definitely the best. I'll just leave it at that. It's simplistic in nature, but extremely complicated in execution in the best and most engrossing way. So, anyways, number 4 is Ni no Kuni, which is a game that we loud a lot on this podcast. So, the switching between all your different little, what are they called again?
I don't know if they call them
familiars.
Familiars, yeah.
All your different familiars between your hero itself, Oliver, and the other characters are like much different than the familiars and have different capabilities. And the boss battles are just epic in Ni no Kuni.
It's what I think Pokemon should become.
A little bit more
yeah,
action-y.
Totally. It was like a more
Yeah.
sophisticated kind of Pokemon idea. Number 3 is Final Fantasy 12, just because of its insane depth and the amount of things that you can make happen at once with like the Baldur's Gate-y, like pausable combat.
That's what you like.
Pardon me. That's what I like a lot. And I haven't even gotten all the way into Final Fantasy 12. I haven't beat it yet. But the fact that it's already number 3, I think, says everything that needs to be said. Number 2 is Legend of Legaia, because it's a PS1 RPG, for those who haven't heard of it, whose combat system was inspired by fighting games, but it's still turn-based. So you make these like hand-to-hand combat combos with the directional buttons chained together, say like up, right, left, down, down, to chain together like these 3-blow combos. And you could just, it's really, really deep, and you have this AP bar where you could charge up and make your bar longer, so you could do like an 8 or 9 hit combo. And it was just, I've never really seen anything like it like that, so I just kind of have to give it the credit it deserves with the number 2 ranking there. And
I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, Legend of Legaia is recommended to anybody, totally overlooked on the PS1. And number 1 is Final Fantasy Tactics. And I pass it to you.
All right.
Kathleen, you must hold the torch.
Yes, holding the torch. All right. My number 5 is Radiant Historia.
Boom.
It's a turn-based game where you're kind of on a grid and you can knock enemies into a single spot and just do massive amounts of damage on them. And I really find that fun and strategic.
I love when you can knock them into the air and then have your other character knock them down in this.
Yes.
Oh, dude. Yes.
No, it's such a fun game. And I mean, the music's great too, so that helps. In fact, I think all of these games have great music.
That's what Radiant Historia is such a sad game, though. It's like so hard to play sometimes. It's like kind
it
of a
is,
downer.
although I will admit there was one particular bad ending that had me laughing so hard I thought I was going to break something because it was just so funny. But other than that, yeah, the game's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Fabulous battle system, though.
Yeah, number 4. Oh man, all of these are like just number 1s. Okay, let's go with.
I said it right. I totally agree. It could like almost be in any order.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with Tokyo Mirage Sessions #FE because oh my god, that battle system is so much fun. I was so sad when I beat that game because it's like, but now I'm not going to get to play the battle system anymore, and there's probably never going to be a sequel. Oh.
Yeah. That's always a great but horrible feeling because it's so good, but it's like you spent it.
I figure I can try a lunatic difficulty run, but I have a feeling I'll get frustrated and probably quit halfway through. But it's such a fun game. Oh man, okay. Next, let's go with for number 3, Trails of Cold Steel. Like Nick said, it's great. It's fast paced. You got these bursts and rushes, and the abilities are doled out slowly over the course of the game, so you never feel overwhelmed with all these options, which I like. And I also like that on a second playthrough, all the options are available right at the start.
Boom.
So that's kind of handy.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
You just one-shot everything.
Yeah.
You do like one of the final spells to like a little tiny character. It's hilarious.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, maybe this is overkill, but whatever, let's do it. Number 2, Ys 4, Memories of Celceta. The controls are so smooth with that game, and the flash guard system, which kind of slows down time if you time a guard perfectly, which allows you to maybe get around a boss that has been giving you trouble. And I love being able to time things well and execute flawlessly. That's probably my favorite thing in games.
You also kind of worded that really cool.
What do you
time
mean?
it well and execute it flawlessly. Kind of got me pumped up.
Yeah.
It's a great Vita game. Everyone who has a Vita should really give it a shot. And my number 1, even though it's not my favorite Tales of game, Tales of Grace's F has probably my favorite battle system because I've never played a game where guarding feels so integral to the system because it bumps up, I believe, your AP, I think it's called. It's been a while since I played.
Your
but,
CC.
Oh, man.
The same
CC?
thing in Tales
you.
of Destiny Remake.
There it is again.
Yeah,
Dropping
you
names.
got to mention it. But yeah, it was so much fun, and I felt like I had a bit more control than in a lot of the other Tales of games. So yeah, that's my number 1.
Marvelous. Well, get ready to fire off again because now, going the opposite direction, we get possibly my favorite top 5 of the day. Top 5 JRPG tropes.
Oh, this will be really interesting, I think.
So we are going to have to pick up the pace a little bit just because I didn't realize how long these were going to take. But yes, this will be fantastic. You have the floor.
Me again?
Yes.
Alrighty. My number 5 is the old hermit in a town who is actually a powerful wizard and or swordsman.
Yes. He always has a really rare, powerful weapon for you at some point.
And it's like he's just this old guy that everybody thinks is crazy. I love that character. One. They always end up being my favorite ones.
My God. I knew I could count on you.
Happy to help. My number 4 is not actually the chosen one. So like when characters are the chosen one, it's like whatever. But I love when they're not actually the chosen one. They just kind of stumble into all this.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick is just dying over here because his favorite game of all time, that's the exact protagonist.
Oh my God, yeah.
The person who said you told him he was the chosen one the entire game at the very end goes, dude, I just needed your help, man. You were the closest guy. I really hate to break it to you, dude.
That's
You're not
funny.
Special.
Wow.
So beautiful.
All right. My number 3 is a pretty common one, but it's also a very common one in my favorite game series, so I feel like I have to mention it. Amnesia.
Yes, of course.
Naturally.
Yeah. And then number 2 is the MacGuffin from childhood that ends up being the key to saving the universe. This is something in Tales of Fantasia, where you got this little orb and it breaks free Dahos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or like Legend of Dragoon, you have this mysterious stone that your father left you, and it ends up, being the dragon stone that allows you to turn into a dragoon.
Yep, Grandia with the spirit stone your dad left you.
Oh, so good.
All right, and my number 1, of course, because my favorite games are Ys games, the Red-Headed Hero, also prevalent in Chrono Trigger, and there's a couple of other games with red-headed main characters, so yeah.
Tales of the Abyss?
Yep.
He's got a crazy mop on his head.
Yeah, he does.
He does. But yeah, so that's my 5.
Cool.
Solid.
I love that hermit one. That was really good, actually.
That's I wish I thought of that one. Okay, so I guess that comes to me. Okay, so at number 5, mine is the giant evil corporation that is oppressing the world.
Okay.
And I finished all of mine in caps, by the way, so I'll be enunciating all of them exactly like that.
Perfect.
Like like Shinra, or I could think of multiple examples of just
Yep.
Anyways, at number 4 is, as I'm sure we'll see on all of our lists, the protagonist who can't remember his tortured past.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Of course, obviously, like Cloud Strife comes to mind. He's almost the most classic example. Or Fei Fong Wong from Xenogears.
Yep.
Also classic. No memory before age 16. Okay, so at number 3, a nihilistic / angry / unloved dude wants to blow everything up.
Yep.
And you have to, obviously, acquire great power and blow him up.
Yep.
Number 2, there's a spooky mist that makes bad stuff happen.
That's a good one, yeah.
There's various forms of bad stuff that the mist will make happen.
Yeah.
The games I think of are like Legend of Legaia, Final Fantasy 9, and even like Tales of the Abyss. There's that
Miasma.
The miasma, yeah. So that darn spooky mist, man, gets me every time.
Mm-hmm.
And number 1, my favorite JRPG trope of all time: the protagonist is actually a clone.
Ooh, yeah.
I can I can think of 3 games off the top of my head that do that. So that's enough to be a trope for me.
Fair enough.
The most famous, of course, being Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, totally. All right. Mine are pretty generic, but I think my top one's a little bit interesting. So number 5, your childhood friend becomes your love interest.
Dang it, that was mine.
That happens a lot. I mean, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 7. The list. I mean, technically Final Fantasy 8 even, if you go back to the orphanage or whatever.
Yeah. Totally.
This one is not in a ton, but like you said, if it's in at least 3 games, I think it counts as a trope. I'm going to say the Ghost Ship. So we have one in Legend of Dragoon, we have one in Chrono Cross, and I think there's also one in Ni no Kuni, if I remember right.
Damn, that's a good one.
And there's one in Grandia.
And in Grandia, yeah. So Ghost Ship is...
Who thought of this topic again?
Love this topic.
You're promoted.
Yep. Let's see. Number 3 is Burned Hometown. Happens a lot. I don't know if I have
Legend of Dragoon comes to mind first.
7. I mean, Nibelheim was
mine.
Burned or whatever. Yeah.
Quote unquote.
So yeah, Burned Hometown. Number 2, we already talked about. Amnesia. Happens a lot.
I mean, it's so classic.
Yeah. Number 1 is the fighting tournament. And at some point in a JRPG, you'll just it's something that happens in the middle of the game, and there is a fighting tournament. You may or may not fight your rival in the final bout or whatever. And I love in Legendary Dragoon, like even if you lose, you automatically just win because the other guy cheated or something. I think there's one in Xenogears, isn't there?
There's one in Lunar 2. There's one in Xenogears.
There's always one in Tales.
What's funny is that in so many of these games, you're like a young kid at the time of the tournament, and you just come in and like whip the asses of all these hardened like fighting tournament veterans. You're like, I'll suspend that.
He's never lost before. Oh no, a 16-year-old child.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a magic sword. Oh, I'm defeated. No.
All right. Well, that was my number one.
That number one was a solid.
Yeah. All right, Nick. What do you got? It looks like he's doing some last minute adjustments.
His list. He's doctoring his list.
Couple last minute adjustments here.
My number 5, childhood friend who's a love interest.
Okay.
Number 4, young teen heroes. They're always 15, 16.
I know, right? Isn't that weird?
And they always look and act way older, and then you look in like the instruction manual or as the bios, and it's like Cloud Strife, 15 and a half.
Yeah,
you're like,
okay.
What?
That's actually why I like Ys so much, because Adol gets older with each game, and like even by Ys 6, I think he's 26.
Oh wow,
and
I didn't know that.
Actually older.
That's awesome.
That is actually pretty cool.
All right. So number 3, the main character that's mysteriously a master at his craft.
It's every game though. That's the tropiest trope of all time.
Yep.
Like, why does the main character just whoop ass?
Yeah.
You know, he's just the strongest kid ever from that one village.
Yep.
Number 2, high school.
Oh yes, there's a lot of high school JRPGs for sure.
Sorry about your eardrums, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. My number 1, the magical young girl with amnesia who's a god and is the childhood friend of the main character and is the reason their town is destroyed.
It's all wrapped up in one.
Wow, I'm gonna need some backup on that one. Need some examples.
Well, I want to say Sophie from Grace's F. No, she doesn't quite fall into that category.
Doesn't quite fall under that.
Lucia from Lunar 2 satisfies like 3 of the 4 criteria of that trope.
The character from E7 who qualifies for a couple of those.
What about
What's freaky is that I can even think of a few that are close to that.
I know, right?
What about the young space girl from Star Ocean 5?
Oh yeah,
Same thing.
Classic young space girls, dude.
Magical young.
Well, dude, that was fabulous. So moving on to one. This one should be actually pretty quick by comparison. The top 5 Final Fantasy summons.
Yeah, mine. I don't have a lot of Final Fantasy knowledge, but I know these summons.
You can just toss them out. It's basically you can pick on the grounds of which is coolest.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's
Number
pretty much
5.
it.
Moogle.
Moogle.
Most useless summon
Nice.
in
How dare you
tactics.
say that. If you have a high faith score, you can heal like 90 HP with that summon.
So much.
I'll have you know.
Number 2 or number 4, Titan.
Yep.
Oh,
Titan.
Classic.
Yep.
Giant, muscly dude.
Yep.
From the depths of the earth.
Either flips the ground onto the enemy,
Which
or
is
just,
awesome.
or just like tackles the
Body
ground.
slams into the ground.
Yep.
And yeah.
Number 3, Ifrit.
Classic.
Yep. Classic. Yep.
It's freaking devil.
Fiery death from the skies.
Yep.
Yep.
Number 2, Leviathan. I always thought Leviathan was awesome.
Yeah.
Because like it floods the entire.
He's underrated.
Yeah,
for
he floods
sure.
the entire map, and then he just lets out a squeal, and bam. Yep.
Yep.
And then from Final Fantasy VII, Neil Bahamut.
For number 1.
For number 1.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah,
Because
the,
that's the middle Bahamut of the 3 that are available.
the one it's the one that lifts the thing off the ground and then shoots it. Because
Dude, that animation
Yep.
is so sick.
Yeah.
I remember the only reason I remember it is because it was Tifa had it in the demo.
Oh yeah, when you're in like Midgard.
And you're in Midgard.
At the beginning of the game.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like I summoned. It's like, what does this do? And he like lifts like the characters. I'm like, what's going on?
yeah,
And then this dragon
the
comes.
enemies just levitate into the sky and just.
Yep. And the dragon just destroys it. But yeah, those are my top 5.
All right.
Classy.
All right, number 5. I got Titan as well. Just badass. Looks like it plays a pretty big role in 15.
Pretty much brute force.
Yep. Number 4, I also have Leviathan. I like anything watery, so had to make sure I gave Leviathan some love. Number 3, I have Odin, just because he can either do a lot of singular damage or like just completely kill everything in one hit, which is
Right.
pretty badass.
Do you remember how Odin works in FF8? It's so cool. You never get to control him, but once you get him, on
Oh,
your
it's just
team,
random,
he
right?
randomly
Yeah,
shows up
that's
at
right.
the beginning of a fight and just instantly kills the enemies. And it can happen in any random battle, like no matter how hard the enemies are.
Yeah.
So there's been times where I was like in a dungeon, like, oh no, like, you know, I'm like low on health, low on items. Pardon me, the whole 9 yards. And I get in a random battle with this really tough enemy, and for a second I'm like, no! And all of a sudden it starts raining. And Odin walks up. I'm like, yes!
Thank you.
Just cuts
Yeah.
him in half.
Yeah.
And you get the experience.
So awesome.
My favorite Odin is in Midgar on Super Smash Brothers, and he
Well, dude, in FF9, Odin is like, in the story too. Remember, Queen Bronze summons him to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
To do what he does in Clara.
Yeah. That's right.
Awesome FMV sequence.
So number 2, I have a very specific reason for picking this, and it's Phoenix. And I like Phoenix because you can combo it in 7 with final attack,
yeah,
and then
dude.
you just res. So like if you die, if like you get wiped out and somebody has final attack paired with Phoenix, you'll just do damage and you get brought back to life.
Right, because when you cast Phoenix, it automatically revives all party members. So if you have it cast on death, then every time you die,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah, so I just thought that was just a neat combo, and it's cool little sparkly animation.
Boom.
But my favorite Final Fantasy summon is Alexander. Just in it seems like Alexander gets more badass as the series goes on. Like he's
He's basically like a giant robotic monolith castle thing, right? But
Yeah.
but he's holy element, so you like to think he's like righteous and stoic.
yeah, and then he plays a pretty big role in 9's story specifically. So, yeah, Alexander, pretty cool, badass summon.
I like that they have some crazy ways that they interpret him in some of the games, like his summon animations. Like this big like robot castle thing pops out of the ground. It's like 80 stories tall, and then it's like arms fold out into big like
Guns or
missile
whatever.
launchers
Yeah.
and shoots like these holy ways, energy beams or whatever. Pretty crazy sequences.
All right, Connor, lay it on us.
Oh yeah, that was the last one. Okay, so my top 5 is or number 5, pardon me, is Diablos from Final Fantasy VIII, just because he's only one of the only summons I could think of that's just a straight up demon, evil, bad guy.
Yeah.
And his summoning sequence is basically him just like casting like an unholy like ritual. And
Yeah, I like the way it comes down. It's like, yeah,
you guys know I'm a big metalhead, so I'm into that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Number 4 is Ramu, because in Final Fantasy IX, he's a character also who you talk to and interact with.
Yeah.
And it's really cool, but he's just a classic holdfast in all Final Fantasies, the wise old man of thunder on the mountain. Number 3 is Atomos, who's not in all Final Fantasies. I think he's only in 5 or 6 or 6 and Final Fantasy 9. And in Final Fantasy 9, he's in the story where he's like basically the giant mouth, and he just like sucks everything in, destroys like just like
Dang.
like a outer space vacuum basically.
Sure. Yeah.
And like I'll show you a movie sequence with him, and it's just like insane looking. 3 is Atomos, so 2 is Doom Train.
Yes.
A because it's
Nice.
kind of a ridiculous concept.
Yeah.
Just this really evil train full of diseases and bad stuff that hits you because reasons.
Yeah. Doom Train's awesome.
And it's really hard to get him in Final Fantasy VIII too, so he's kind of like a badge of veteranhood if you have him on your file.
Totally.
And number 1 is Bahamut, just because he's basically just the man of all the summons. He's just the guy, the big Kahuna, the head honcho in pretty much all the Final Fantasies. So I got to pay my respects, and give him the number 1 spot.
Classic.
Sounds good.
And Kathleen, comes to you.
My turn. So I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy games, so most of these are from 10, if not all of these are from 10.
That's all good.
Ixion is my number 5, because, I mean, come on, who doesn't love a lightning bolt shooting unicorn?
I love that.
Yep. Number 4 is Ifrit or Ifrit. I'm not entirely sure how to say it. Because, I mean, again, fire demon.
Yeah. Also unbeatable.
Number 3, I'll go with Shiva, because I love her diamond dust attack, and her design is just gorgeous. I think it's so pretty.
She's a babe.
Number 2 is Bahamut, because he's just really powerful, and I think that's kind of cool. And big dragons, gotta love them.
He's the big boss.
Yeah. And number 1 is Yojimbo, because you have to pay him to make him attack. And I just think that's kind of an interesting, mechanic.
Yeah, me and Casey are big Yojimbo fans, because he was the one who kind of like made me play Final Fantasy X after I'd kind of skipped over it. And he was always like, dude, just wait till you get Yojimbo. This freaking mercenary won't even help you out until you line his pockets. I'm like, I like this guy already.
I just like to point out, not a single one of us picked Knights of the Round.
Yeah,
Nope,
I was
that's
thinking
fair.
that too. Like,
I thought for sure somebody would pick Knights of the Round.
I had to give them a spite omission because it takes so long to watch their
that thing
sequence
takes
and you can't skip it. So
forever.
you guys get double middle fingers from me.
Okay, fair enough.
Even though they are essential to beating the hardest encounters in Final Fantasy VII.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the last one. This one is kind of more introspective, you know?
Mhm.
I had to think. I guess it was easier to think of which ones were my favorite, but it's a much deeper question as to why. So, the top 5 JRPG storylines, or plots, however you want to say.
Cutting to the core of the genre right here.
Yeah, and so it's almost synonymous with just the best games, because story is such, it's tied so closely to like what a JRPG is.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Kathleen, what are your top 5 JRPG storylines?
In number 5, I have to go with Ys 4 Memories of Celceta. I know I've mentioned it a couple of times already, but I really love the story.
Hey, you're the boss of your list.
Yep. But no, I adore the fact that even though it's the 4th game in the series, it's not the 4th game in the timeline, and where it falls in the timeline is integral to the games after it. And it just, it makes me so happy. I actually, when I finished it, I cried, because it was just like, this is so sweet. And I just want to go and play the other games all over again, because I've got a new perspective on it.
Nick's sister Maddie would love to hear that, because she is the ultimate end of game crier.
I cry all the time. I'm a big old crybaby. In fact, all of these games made me cry multiple times now that I'm looking at them.
Same here, actually.
Number 4 is Radiant Historia again. It's probably the best instance of time travel I've seen done in a video game, because the choices, even though there are only so many that actually progress the story, they are integral to the story and they do matter.
It's just the concept of having those 2 storylines and you keep changing one and it affects the other, and back and forth.
And you have to learn something from a different timeline and bring it back. And
it's so awesome.
No, it's so well done. Number 3 is A Tear of Vermilion, because never before in a video game had I seen that much pixelated blood.
Nice.
And the fact that it happened so early in the game, I was just heartbroken and doing everything in my power to try and fix what had happened. And of course, in the end, doesn't always work out like that. So being vague, yay. Number 2 is probably the game that got me back into gaming, Tales of Fantasia.
Ooh, Nick is gonna be mad about that.
well, I'm not going to be mad about that.
You don't like Tales of Fantasia? Oh no, sorry. I thought you said Symphonia. Never mind.
Tales
I
of
would never say
Fantasia.
Symphonia.
Sorry.
I don't like it either.
Sorry.
See? She doesn't like it for the same reason I don't like it.
Nick is
It's
like,
too much like
Kathleen.
Tales of Fantasia.
It's like, this is why we're buds, Kathleen.
Yep. But yeah, Tales of Fantasia, I got to the end, and never had I felt so guilty about beating a game, because it shifts the whole dynamic of what the story is actually about on you, and I just thought that was so masterfully done. And my number 1, which shouldn't surprise Nick at all, Trails in the Sky first and second chapter.
Yeah.
And probably third chapter when it comes out in a few months.
He nods with a knowing look.
And I say they are 2 games combined because they are pretty much the same game. You could just lump them all together and you'd have about 100 hours of JRPG goodness. And yeah, I can't say anything because pretty much anything would be a spoiler, but the cliffhanger between first and second chapter was so cruel. And then to add a 4.5-year wait in between that cliffhanger is just, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it.
The payoff was worth it?
It was.
Oh,
I
wow.
wasn't even mad that I had to wait 4.5 years to get to the next morning, essentially.
It wasn't It was actually unknown that we were going to get this
Yeah,
second chapter.
they said they were going to do it, and then it got delayed, and then it got postponed indefinitely, and then they attached Carpe Fulgur onto the translation team, and then slowly one day in October, I think shortly after my birthday, they said, "Oh yeah, by the way, pigs are going to fly in a week."
yeah. I remember they literally just put a picture of pigs flying on their Twitter account. I'm like, okay.
And everybody lost their mind.
Yeah,
and then, of course, a couple months later, they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, a priest and a nun walk into a game," and everyone's like, "No, we're not getting our hopes up. You're not doing 2this." Nope. And then it was announced the next day, and I cried at the announcement because I'm a big crybaby.
Nice.
It's okay.
So, yeah, it's
this
fine.
is a safe space. This is a safe space. So a fine top 5 to be sure. So I'm gonna start mine. At number 5 is Suikoden 2.
Okay.
And a big part of the storyline is the huge cast of characters and what each of them individually brings into the game, which is huge amounts. And like I've found that each person who's played through Suikoden 2 has a different like host of characters that have become their favorites, and like that they, like have taken under their wing as their core group. And it's like there's something for everybody, And plus the story, like the main story itself, is really engrossing too. It's not one that's particularly fantastic. It's a political intrigue involved, so it's got everything. It's super mature storyline. So Suikoden 2, number 5. Number 4 is Final Fantasy 12. Kind of almost very similar reasons. Like the characters are some of the best. It's been really interesting dynamic how Vaughn, like the quote-unquote protagonist, isn't necessarily like the true protagonist. It's kind of everyone shares the load equally, and it's like an ensemble cast, which I guess a lot of people, or drew a lot of people's ire, but I kind of appreciate that about it. I think it works really well. And number 3 is Final Fantasy 9, which, keeping to the JRPG like theme here, like the characters are the most important part of that game and bring the most charm. And everything else about it is a great game too, but that is the first thing that always comes to mind, is the characters that comprise the plot. And then the depth that the story gets to, like in discs 3 and 4, is like you never even would have dreamed of in the first 2 discs. So it gets really serious and awesome. Number 2 is Chrono Cross for almost the exact same reason. Anytime you can pull off a story involving a lot of time travel and timeline jumping and multiple worlds and keep it coherent is pretty impressive. Yeah. And then you throw in like the emotion that like all-time soundtrack brings to it. And yeah, that's
so good.
Pretty much untouchable as far as story goes. And you guys have to think about my number 1 pick for exactly 0 seconds.
What do you think about this?
You have no idea what it's going to be. Xenogears, best story I've ever played. Throw in some giant freaking robots and some hyper-advanced ancient civilizations, and you've pretty much got me hook, line, and sinker. And plus, it's like, as far as love stories in a JRPG goes, like this one feels so real. Like there's like a passion and like a believability to it. It's like, I don't know, it feels, the story of Xenogears is so like human.
Yeah.
And it's like touching on themes of like life and death and religion and reincarnation. It's like more than a game has ever been to me before, plot wise. So can't recommend it enough.
Very nice, sir.
Yes, I pass the torch to you, Taylor.
All right, I think mine will be very predictable as well, but nonetheless, here we go. Number 5 is Final Fantasy VII. I think simply because there's just so much nostalgia. I played that game so many times. I feel like I know those characters so well. Like the story of Cloud and what he goes through, and just him figuring out who he really is, and the loss. Like that was really the first game where like a major character, like that I encountered, where like a major character dies and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely 7's a great one. Number 4, Grandia, just because it's like a classic kid going on an adventure story, and it was, to me, playing it many years after the fact, it was really unique in that your characters don't stay with you. They're just like, they're there for a part of the game and they leave and you never see them again. I just thought that was cool. It's just like life, like sometimes you encounter these people and then you just don't ever see them again. That's just what happens, Yeah,
it's not always wrapped up in a nice little bow.
Exactly. Number 3, I'm going to say Final Fantasy Tactics. Just because there's a lot of political intrigue. There's so much like bobbing and weaving of like crazy stuff that happens. Like you have this friend Delita who's just like this poor kid and like rises through the ranks, and like you almost swap roles where like you're on the run as Ramza and you're just trying to fight for what's right, even though that means fighting against your own family and stuff like that.
At first you are the royalty and Delita is like the peasant, and then he rises to power and becomes king, and you're on the run. And
yeah, exactly. And there's just so many like interesting little characters you meet along the way, and the twists and turns and like realizations your own family makes and other characters make and stuff like that. So it's just up until the very last second is intriguing.
So one last thing on that. One of the best parts about FFT is that at the end of the game, like, you know, you're the hero and you saved everyone and like life as we know it, but nobody knows that. And like as far as everyone knows, like you're still this heretic who like died in disgrace. Yeah. You know, and it's like, I don't know, it's just really interesting, like martyr kind of dynamic.
I like characters that are they're like the understated, like I don't want the glory type of characters, and they're just like I just did the right thing because to me it was the right thing to do, even if it meant sacrificing myself
in obscurity.
Yeah, totally. So I can totally appreciate Ramza's character. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Lunar Silver Star Story.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a curveball.
Yeah, just to me that is like the prototypical JRPG. I love just the simplicity of it in a weird way, because you kind of always know where the story's going. I think one thing that Neil Druckmann said that I think reigns very true is what makes a great video game story is a simple plot but complex characters, and I feel like Lunar has that, where there's just so many facets to these characters. Like you think you know them and you don't, or they just have, I don't know, they're just memorable in a lot of ways. So I would say that as number 2, and then number 1's obvious, Persona 4. Those characters have affected me like no other game ever has. Playing it a second time is hard because you know what the mystery is, but like playing through the first time, like trying to figure out the mystery, like the murder mystery along the way, was just super fascinating. And like it was one of the few games that got me really emotional. Like at the end of the game, when you get on that train and you go home, I felt like I was saying goodbye to these characters. And it sounds super weird. I know I've said this many, many times on this podcast, but that's just how it was. That's how well that game connects you with these characters.
To name drop Nick's sister Maddie again, she was a mess when she beat that game.
Oh, I bet.
She was a mess when she beat Trails of Cold Steel, too.
That's funny.
She was crying, and she dropped the Vita.
It's like, that's one of those things that, like, someone who's not into games like this is just like, I don't understand that at all. You know?
Yeah,
she's like,
totally.
It better not end right here. And I knew it was going to end. So right when it ended, and I'm like, to be continued. And she just literally went,
drops the controller.
Yeah. And well, at least the next one comes out soon.
Poor little lamb.
And then just one last little tidbit. I think another thing that it kind of ties the bow up nice in this story is the game's over, but then the after credit scene, you guys kind of get back together and all the characters look differently and stuff like that. So
that's only if you get the true ending and you get everything.
And which I've done in Golden. So yeah, Persona 4, favorite game, best story.
Boom.
Boom.
All right, my turn.
Toss it to Nick.
Mine's easy because you've said like all the games that I've done already.
This is wrapping up the whole shebang, by the way.
So it's okay. Tactics, obviously. It could be anything.
Number 5.
Number 4, Persona.
4 or which one?
4.
Okay.
Persona 4. Since you already said Grandia 1, I'm going to say Grandia 2.
Okay.
Grandia 2 has a...
so you're saying that they're comparable quality of story?
Yes.
Sweet.
Different.
It's hard to do.
Different story, a completely different type of characters. It's the trope light versus darkness.
Yeah.
But it's done in a very good way.
Okay.
You put that as an honorable mention in the trope section.
Number 2, Tear for Million. The same thing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Wow.
So I said that, and that's why she took mine. I thought no one was going to say that. That's a very good story. It made me tear up a little bit. And number 1, Tales of Destiny.
Wow, Trails of Cold Steel's not on there at all, huh?
No, because it's not done. I don't know the story yet.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a very macro approach to that.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
So yeah, Trails of Destiny, great story.
Trails of Destiny.
Trails of Destiny,
the best game of all
I mean, it would be a
time.
fun game, I'm sure.
but
The ultimate crossover.
but yeah, great story. Like the first part of the story isn't even the main story. It's like a subplot. It's great. But yeah, great characters, great everything. It's just very tropey as well. But I love everything about that game.
Okay, so thus concludes our top 5 of the top 5 of the whatever the name of this segment is. And so, in the sake of time, I'm just going to summarize what I think was the top 5
Okay.
of the top 5. 5, I'm going to have to go vehicles.
Yeah.
Because it was simple, it's kind of like, oh, this one's cool, that one's cool.
Sure.
4, I'm going to go summons,
Mhm.
because basically it's the same thing. It's choosing based on which one looks coolest.
We're actually doing this. I thought this was a joke.
No, this is called a bit, Nick, except I think bits are supposed to be funny, but whatever. We're going to power through it. All right. 3 is storylines, just because it's simplistic, it's like, and it's plus really subjective too.
Yeah.
But 2 is battle systems.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's usually the most interesting part of a JRPG.
Yeah.
Is or the most defining feature of one. And 1 is obviously which tropes are the best.
Yeah.
That was
Great.
freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
And it helps us expose the sillier parts of JRPGs that deserve to be ridiculed.
I think I probably would have done that exact list that
Me too.
way. Yeah.
Same here.
And that's the top 5 of the top 5s in the top 5 episode.
So do we have time to do back of the box, or
We have time. I don't know if he has
yeah,
time.
I have enough time to throw down. I mean, it won't even take that long, really.
Okay.
So we can just bang this out real quick to see who's the victor.
All right.
So for listeners that don't know what this is, basically what Connor's going to do is read descriptions from the back of game boxes, and we're going to have to try to guess what the game is. We say our name if we want to buzz in. If we get it wrong, we can no longer call for the rest of the round unless all 3 of us have got the answer wrong.
Right, and then you think of the correct answer. Then you'll get a
Right.
shot.
And I think that's pretty much it. Whoever has the most at the end will win. We have an extra in case there's a tiebreaker. But yeah.
Oh, and Kathleen, we've never played this with someone who's not here, so just best of luck to you.
Yep, I'll do my best.
Oh yeah, you say your own name to buzz in. By
Yep.
the way,
Yep.
If Taylor didn't say that, I usually don't listen to what he says, so I don't know. Okay, so also I'm a little bit of a different host, so I'll have some different quirks. I will give out the system that it's on if you guys are starting to slow down a little bit, or if I think
Okay.
you're not catching on.
Okay.
But like Taylor, I will omit proper names and stuff that are dead giveaways.
Okay.
So
Remember, that doesn't. I still know the game.
Jake-kun.
yeah, oh
Son
yeah,
of a
right.
bitch.
You cheating bastard.
All right, this will be fun. I've never played this. I've never been on this end of it.
All right, I have a couple in here that might be toughies, so I'm going to be giving out hints, but I feel like that works out just as well.
Okay.
Okay. Live the legend, then make your own. In the fabled kingdom of blank, the mighty blank has awoken. Join the hunt for, I'll give that name, Princess Cisna, as an ancient myth is reborn in an epic RPG from level 5, acclaimed creators.
Taylor, Dark Cloud.
Fail.
Dang
It's a
it.
level 5 game, creators of Rogue Galaxy. It's up to Nick or Kathleen, whoever wants to buzz first.
Wait, say it again.
You wanted me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Live the legend, then make your own. In the fabled kingdom of blank, the mighty blank has awoken. Join the hunt for Princess Cisna as an ancient myth is reborn in
Nick.
an epic.
White Knight Chronicles.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I had to start off with your favorite game of all time, obviously. So that's 1 point for Nick. Bing.
You know, the reason I got that is because it said makers from Rogue Galaxy. And then
Yeah,
that's what
I
it
didn't
was.
hear that until after. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Yep.
I thought you had me dead to rights when you buzzed in there, Taylor. But all right, Nick won.
Right.
All right. This one has been brought up on this episode already.
Okay.
So, that kingdom's not going to save itself. You only got into the blank nights because your dad was famous. You just might prove yourself worthy if your smart mouth doesn't get you killed first. Dive headfirst into a highly detailed interactive world that could only be realized by the creators of the Star Ocean series. Explore your surroundings by kicking everything in sight, from furniture to sheep to
Taylor.
people.
Radiata Stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gave it away when you started kicking
I
stuff.
I knew the kicking detail would be a dead giveaway.
Because I was like, Mega Man Legends? No, because I know in Mega Man
It's
Legends...
really a detail on the back of the box.
Yeah, you literally kick everything in the game, and you can kick people, and they want to fight you.
Yeah.
You can pick a fight with anybody in the entire game just by kicking them twice.
But you can also kick like potted plants and they'll have like, items in them and stuff like that, or trash cans.
Oh, and it also has the answer here to how many characters there are in Radiata Stories.
Which is how many?
175.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's a lot.
Yeah, if we got past that, there would have been some more details that would have given it to you, Nick.
Okay.
All right, so one Nick, one Taylor.
0 Kathleen.
I might have to throw this one out just because it might be too insane.
Easy? Okay.
No, dude, no. The insane ones are the best.
two easy ones are fun because then it's a speed battle.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll save that one for last.
Okay.
Meet your blank. For the first time ever, RPG fanatics are given the chance to be
Nick.
true game designers.
RPG Maker.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I knew that one would go in 1
I remember
second.
that box art.
Oh, wow.
Okay, this one I think will be really, really fast again.
Okay.
It has been brought up. The dark hour begins anew.
Nick.
Taylor, oh, dang it.
Persona 3.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Dang it.
The dark
That
hour.
one's a little too fresh in his mind, I guess. All right, Nick's got 3. Taylor's got 1.
Time to make a
And
comeback.
I've still got nothing.
I feel bad though because you're at a disadvantage.
It's all good. It's all good.
No, but you'll make your glorious comeback. I know.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, so if I give you guys the system for this one, then I know it'll be a dead giveaway. So I'm going to read the...
Wait till the end
Yeah,
to read
exactly.
the system. Okay.
The fate of blank is in your hands. Wow, that really gives it away, doesn't it? When Blank and his friends open an ancient magical tome, their small town is
Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
God damn it.
Dang
Did I
it.
just pick these off his shelf or something?
I don't even know what that game's about. Yeah.
He's just before we get here for every episode, he's just reading the backs of boxes on the internet.
You son of a bitch.
Or he's just too good at this.
That too.
Okay. Okay, let's go with this one. The 32 meg quest begins. The millennium. A portal is opened. The chain of time is broken. A young man is transported into the past, altering the course of history and the outcome of the future. He has to find his way home, but first he must travel to the outer edges of time to repair the world's chronology. On the way, he encounters strange friends and foes, utilizes incredible devices
Nick.
and vehicles,
Chrono Cross.
and penetrates and neutralizes the fortresses of the past, present, and future. A paradox has been created. If he does not restore the order of time, nothing will ever be the same. He is the one who will become a hero. He is blank.
Wow.
Want the system?
Sure.
No, get the
Yeah.
system after they can't figure it out.
You want another moment of deliberation?
Can you read it one more time?
It's pretty long.
Okay.
The millennium. A portal is opened. The chain of time is broken. A young man is transported into the past, altering the course of history and the outcome of the future. He has to find his way home, but first he must travel to the outer edges of time to repair the world's chronology. On the way, he encounters strange friends and foes, utilizes incredible devices and vehicles, and penetrates and neutralizes the fortresses of the past, present, and future. A paradox has been created. If he does not restore the order of time, nothing will ever be the same. He is the one who will become a hero. He is Chrono.
Oh, Taylor.
Cat.
That was like, I don't know.
give it to her because she has a lag.
Okay, sure.
And it was at the same time, so that means
Chrono Trigger?
Yes.
Uh,
I figured it'd be a giveaway once
Got
I got to that
one.
part.
Okay, I heard 32 megs, so I thought 3D. So that's
Yeah.
why I picked Cross.
Yeah, I didn't even
That would
know
be
what that was
32
referring to.
bit.
Yeah, I know. But that's why I picked it. I knew it was a Chrono game.
Thought it might have been Radiant Historia, but I don't know anything about that game.
Because the game. No, wait. I should have done that. I was an idiot.
No.
Because
Okay.
Chrono Trigger begins at New Year's Eve. 1999.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, next one. Y'all know this one's coming. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch because I think that probably just gave it away. Okay, so this is kind of a PS1 RPG. I feel like it's just necessary to say that first
Okay.
because it's one that I don't think we have played.
Okay.
That's just a review. Enter a vast frontier where 7 quests are taken one hero at a time. A wizard's dark destiny, a woman's revenge, even a robot's search for his soul. 7 amazing adventures that weave into one. Yours. 140 hours of gameplay. 30 regions of time and space to explore. Deep battle and magic system. Features the free scenario system for open-ended gaming. A separate and unique adventure awaits each hero. How many can you survive? So I'm going to read the first sentence again.
Taylor,
Yeah?
I want to say Saga Frontier.
Boom.
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. I was thinking of saying 2 because I played 1 and I don't remember a robot.
I thought the 7 different quest thing would give it away.
I knew it was Saga Frontier. I just didn't know if it was 1 or 2. I didn't know if you were going to be evil like that.
Okay, for sure. So, moving on.
2, 4, 1.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another... don't you have 3, Nick?
I don't know. Do I have 3? I thought I had 4.
You had...
Wait, let me see if this adds up. Yeah, you have you have 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So, sorry. PS1 RPG. Okay. You know too much. The incident you witnessed at the JDF base has drawn you into a global conspiracy. Now your best chances for survival lie in a handful of shady characters and your giant battle machines. Turn-based
Nick. Damn it.
What?
Front Mission 3.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Xenogears and screw it up. I was hoping.
I mean, as soon as you said turn. Oh, well. Yeah. Yep.
All right, well, let's go with this one then. Stand tall and shake the heavens. A mysterious organization is turning the tides of a century-long war with ancient technology. Giant combat robots known as
Nick.
Gears. Taylor, where are you at on that?
I don't know.
You're just asleep. What?
It's Xenogears.
Yeah. Okay, well, sometimes games aren't meant to be played, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, this one. This one I'm curious if you guys will just get in general. A legendary tale of betrayal and self-destruction. Abuse derived from greedy... Let me start over. Abuse derived from the greediness of man. The powers of a magical creature betrayed. Will man realize his mistakes before irreparable damage is done? Armed with a magical sword and the will to survive, lead Blank and his cohorts to the redemption of man. Pursue a quest to save the world and discover a place where legends are born. Discover the legend of Blank. New combat system based on fighting games. Discover special combinations for more effective attacks. Beautiful, realistic graphics with full polygons. Oh, wow. Hundreds of 3D enemies that react with a full range of motion.
Ooh.
Punch, kick, and slash. Discover special combinations.
Taylor, Legend of Legaia.
I was just waiting for you to get it.
Oh, I don't know.
Nick, you're terrible. All right, well, let's see if you get this one.
You're terrible.
This one, I wouldn't even get this one. But to save the future, you must uncover the past. 4,000 years into a war-torn future, Earth has been abandoned and mankind forges its existence in deep space, locked in an epic battle for survival against the malevolent alien Gnosis. The search continues for the Zohar, a legendary artifact rumored to be capable of eradicating the Gnosis and ushering in an era...
The cat.
Yes?
I think it might be Xenosaga?
Boom!
Oh, wow. Did you know that, Nick?
Yep.
Oh, Nick had this look on his face like he might have known, but...
I was about to read the
remember that
name,
game
too.
because I played it for 3 hours and then returned it.
I was about to read the names of the characters, too, so... But you got it before that. So
I was thinking, actually, Xenoblade X.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, that might be Xenoblade, but I beat that game, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like any of the characters that I remember.
I needed to hear if they were searching for something because I remember them looking for something in, space.
Right. Well, Nick runs away with it, but everyone retains their dignity.
There's one more. Do you want to just do the last one for fun, or do you have a tiebreaker? Or
there actually isn't one more.
Oh, okay. Just kidding then.
And by the way, I actually knew it was Legend of Legaia. I wasn't joking. I was just waiting for Taylor to get it.
Well, he looked at me like...
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah.
The entire time.
Well, we'll have to expand outside JRPGs for the next one because obviously Nick has the monopoly on the market here.
Exactly.
Well, don't I do that with like everything?
Wow, we got the big talker over here.
I just
You beat him once, right, Connor?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll beat your ass.
that hasn't come out yet.
What of it?
Hopefully it's out before
Oh,
this.
yeah, that's a good point. But anyway,
That's why I haven't released it, because I lost.
This concludes a very wacky episode of the Giant Sword Podcast, where we're all burning the candle at both ends, going a little loopy. Mm-hmm. And a special thanks to Kathleen for being very awesome and providing us with her lists.
Yeah, anytime.
And she also has a golden voice for radio, I might add.
Aw, thank you.
But, yeah, that's it. Check us out on our social media pages. And, what's that?
Give links.
Links. Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So check us out on Facebook at Last Honest Gamers. There's / Last Honest Gamers. That's our Facebook. Twitter is at LHG Podcast. And be sure to review us on iTunes. And if you're listening to on YouTube, be sure to comment, subscribe, and like.
Boom, boom, boom. And then a quick shout out to Kathleen. You can follow her at Raychana, RAICHANA. And then you have a Twitch channel. Is that the same name? Twitch.tv/Raychana?
Pretty much anywhere you find Raychana, it's most likely me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, she does a lot of like live drawing stuff. So if you're into that, definitely go check it out.
Hells yeah. All right, and with that, we're out. Boogly.